To the fourth edition of Cargo Connections Conclave 2025, presented by MPRS Shipping and Logistics, powered by Indian Oil Corporation, in association with Win Asia Maritime Private Limited, organized by India Sea Trade and FIEO. Welcome back after the break. To begin the second session, I'd like to invite the dignitaries on stage. Before that, let me introduce the topic to you. The topic of the second session is Building Robust and Resilient Infrastructure for Coimbatore's Exporters. To debate on this topic, I'd like to invite our esteemed dignitaries on stage. May I request a loud round of applause as I welcome Ms. G. Gayatri, IRTS GGM, Commercial and Operations, South Container Corporation of India. Ladies and gentlemen, a loud round of applause as our guest walks up on stage, please. To join her on the panel, I'd like to invite on stage Mr. Senthilkumar Subramaniam, CEO, Dakshi Bharat Container Terminal. Welcome, sir. Welcome to Cargo Connections Conclave 2025. Joining them on stage is Dr. R. Rajesh Kumar, President, Custom Broker and Shipping Agents Association, Coimbatore, and Director, Glow Shipping and Logistics Private Limited. Dr. R. Rajesh Kumar on stage. Welcome to the panel, sir. I'd like to invite Captain Mohit Chaturvedi, Senior Vice President, JM Baxi Ports and Terminal. May I request Captain Mohit Chaturvedi to join the panel on stage. Mr. David Raja J, Senior Vice President, St. John Freight Systems, a global corporation logistics company. Mr. David Raja. Welcome to the panel, Mr. David. Mr. Pratap Singh Chauhan, Head Exim Jindal Stainless Limited. May I request Mr. Pratap Singh Chauhan to join us on the stage. Welcome to Cargo Connections Conclave 2025. And it's time to invite the moderator on stage. We have Mr. Naveen Prakash, Director, Global Logistics Solutions India Private Limited, here today to moderate the session. Naveen Prakash is the co-founder of Global Logistics, a company engaged primarily in LCL consolidation, freight forwarding, and project logistics since its inception back in 2006. For more than 20 years, he's been leading Consolidators Association of India, Chennai chapter as president and as a chair with Supply Chain Committee of South India Chambers of Commerce and Industry. Ladies and gentlemen, loud round of applause for Mr. Naveen Prakash, who will be moderating the second session of the day. Over to you, Mr. Naveen.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. How many of you had tea? How many have had coffee? Okay, I think Coimbatore is also known for its tea, right? If I'm not wrong. Because when I joined the industry, I was told Coimbatore is very famous for the tea and only very reputed freight forwarders would get it business. So I never handled the tea business, but congratulations people who still handle that. So yeah, coming to the topic here, thank you very much for coming back on time for the session. As we know that our session today is building robust and resilient infrastructure for Coimbatore exporters. So all Coimbatore exporters, in the previous panel, you had my good friend KK Kumar of MSc was there. So I told him you are a soft target. And this time on stage, I have more than one. I think I have more than 4 to 5 soft targets. So I want the audience to be very much involved because we'll have a good amount of time for the Q&A. And I want to be participative for that. So we will keep our session very brief and leaving a lot of time for the audiences to be involved. So because we have people who really cater to the infrastructure side of the business and their investments and their vision is long-term, as that was the expectation from the trade, that they want infrastructure players to have a long-term vision so that they can plan their shipments better. So yeah, moving on. First of all, it's my pleasure to welcome you all here, especially my panelists for the discussion. Coimbatore has been a hub for industrial excellence, contributing significantly to India's exports in textiles, engineering goods, and auto components, among others. However, as global trade dynamics evolve, exporters in this region face increasing challenges, as we heard before also, especially connected with logistics, connectivity, and infrastructure. Today, as we are here to discuss how we can strengthen the logistics ecosystem to support Coimbatore exporters better. Infrastructure is a backbone of trade competitiveness and ensuring seamless multimodal connectivity across rail, road, port and air can significantly enhance efficiency and cost effectiveness. To address these challenges and explore potential solutions, we have an esteemed panel of experts representing key stakeholders in the logistics and export ecosystem. Let me briefly introduce them again. Ms. Gayatri, IRTS, Mr. Senthilkumar Subramaniam, CEO, Dakshi Bharat Gateway, Mr. David Raja, Senior Vice President, St. John Freight Systems, Mr. Rajesh Kumar, Dr. Rajesh Kumar, President, Custom Broker Association, Coimbatore, Capt. Mohit Chaturvedi, Senior Vice President, GM Baxi Ports and Terminals, Mr. Pratap Singh Chauhan, Head, Exim Jindal Stainless Steels. Each of these panelists brings a unique perspective from port operations and custom clearance to multimodal logistics and exporter requirements. So I will begin the discussion here by asking my first panelist, obviously Ms. Gayatri. Ms. Gayatri is from Conclave. So Ms. Gayatri, from a multimodal logistics perspective, what are the biggest infrastructure challenges in ensuring seamless cargo movement from Coimbatore for the exporters? So if you take up this question for me.
Good afternoon to everyone. And I would like to start off by thanking the organizers for calling me today. In the first session, I heard the exporters of Coimbatore talking about the issues they are facing. There were certain comments even about the ICD Irugur as such. So let me just start off, in terms of providing infrastructure, Container Corporation, the organization which I am representing, is very well posed to support the exporters of Coimbatore. Now, we have, as many of you already know, we are among the largest logistic players. We have 66 terminals which are connecting all over India. We have numerous ICDs, and we have very good connections to all the gateway ports. We also have more than 380 rakes. So we transport both through rail and through road wherever it's necessary. We also provide first mile and last mile connectivity. Now coming to Coimbatore specifically, Concord has a 41-acre terminal at Irugur, which has it's an ICD, and it has all the custom facilities, and apart from that, we have 2 lines which are, for handling of rakes. And these lines are not full-length lines, but we are also constructing a 3rd full-length line. So that is the kind of traffic we are anticipating. We are getting a lot of traffic inwards, a lot of them is domestic, but we are also expecting over a period of time, we will be able to handle more exports also from Coimbatore. We have about 4,000 square feet of warehouse, and we have all kinds of equipments to handle containers. We have sufficient space, we have sufficient ground slots, we have reach stackers, we have forklifts. So in terms of infrastructure, Irugur is second to none in handling of rakes or containers. But yes, the main problem when you come to Coimbatore exporters, everyone in the earlier session was talking about logistics cost. Logistics cost, now if you see, in Coimbatore, most of the exporters send their containers to either Tuticorin or to Cochin. Now both these ports are very close to Coimbatore. Now railways is never very economically when it comes to short distance. It's always road, because roads you have a quicker turnaround, you go and you can come back with a return cargo. Rail movement that way becomes a little more, it takes time and you need to consolidate because we need a rake load, otherwise financially it is not viable. And as as we all know, any business finally it depends upon financial viability. So that is definitely a problem which comes out here in terms of development of infrastructure. Despite having the infrastructure, we are unable to run sufficient train loads to these kind of ports. Yes, we are running services to JNPT, but that is again on trucks. Right now, we are also negotiating with railways. Like we want to run a train from here to Valarpadam. And we are also negotiating with railways for a more suitable haulage rates, so that that would benefit. But then again, that also depends upon how much of the consignment we can consolidate, or maybe some forwarder has to come and consolidate the consignment, because without that it will be a problem. So in the previous session there was someone saying they did not have a very good experience with ICD. I'm not really sure what was the experience, because we are very well equipped. But yes, we had tried operating 2 trains the year before last to JNPT. The major problem again became out there was the consolidation. We did not get sufficient containers. Now for most people, like maybe if you're a Tirupur exporter or a Coimbatore exporter, what happens is the moment you have one container, you would prefer to take it by road and connect it immediately. So that is a problem. If we are willing to start a weekly service, if there is a sufficient rake load, so that should not be a problem. But then we would request the exporters and the Coimbatore fraternity to come forward and also help us in making this successful. So this, in terms of infrastructure, I would say we don't have any issues. We can run trains. We are also asking railways to support us for the rates. If all that works out, we would require help from the trading fraternity to give us rake loads so that we can be effective in running trains.
Thank you, Ms. Gayatri. So basically you're saying that you are ready, the trade has to come and use it.
The trade has to come and use it, even for...
Yeah, and most importantly, it has to be consolidated.
It has to be consolidated. In fact, if you see the figures, when it started, we were handling more than 5,000 containers, in 2005, 6, and so. Gradually it has come down because road has become better. And yes, there is one more thing I would like to say. Concor is also now connecting. We have also procured LNG trucks, because there is a lot of importance nowadays given to environment-friendly mode of transport. Rail is of course an environment-friendly mode of transport, and we know a lot of exporters also have to meet up with ESG norms. So in Chennai we are already operating around 40 to 45 trucks, which are LNG trailers, which are now connecting to even Hosur, to Mysore and other places. We are getting a few more LNG trailers which will come shortly, which we are also planning to deploy in this circuit, especially for connectivity to Tuticorin, if necessary, Tuticorin or Valapadam, wherever they require. Even to JNPT we can do. Wherever there is a fueling station, we will be able to do that.
Just for the interest of my trucker friends also here, how economical is it to run an LNG truck? Because when the requirement is from the customers on the ESG part to operate LNG trucks, but most of us not able to invest. So if you want to give it some tips on that. I would say,
yes, the initial investment is high, but there is a lot of demand from the trade. Like in Chennai per se, where we are running around 45 trucks, our LNG trucks are never vacant. There is a lot of demand from the industry. So yes, initially we were just breaking even, now we become profitable. So it does work out. The economics is working out.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to talk to somebody who is the darling of Coimbatore trade, the Tuticorin port, especially represented by DBGT, Senthilkumar Subramaniam. So how can ports, particularly Tuticorin, enhance their role in supporting export from the region? You're already doing a lot, but how can you do more to enhance exporters from this region? And what do you see if there are any current bottlenecks which is stopping you to enhance this even more?
Thank you. Thank you for the complimentary words, Mr. Praveen. And let me first of all start my conversation with by thanking C-Trade jointly with the FI's EO for inviting us and giving us an opportunity to participate in this fantastic forum. So before getting into the question, let me give a small background of what's happening in the container trade or what happened in the year 2024. So if we take the container trade pan-India, the total volume handled across all Indian terminals and ports is something around 23 million TEUs. And out of that, if you take only South Indian terminals, is contributed around 6 million TEUs. So which means there is a 30% to overall. That is the market share of South Indian terminals. Then again, if you break down into further into the South Indian terminals operating here, there are 12 terminals in South India, starting from that side, Vizag, Gangavaram, and this side on the west coast, it is Mangalore. So 6 million TEUs. Out of that, Chennai-bound terminals, that 4 terminals, CACT, CATPL, Katupalli, and Ennur, they are holding a phenomenal share of something around 58%, and rest all given to Cochin, handled by Cochin, Vizag, Tuticorin, that way. That is a second set of information. And then, if you look at the capacity today available in South Indian terminals, as I said, 6 million TEUs is the volume, prevailing volume in southern part of India. And in that 6 million TEUs, I would say that, let me take an example of last month what happened. The total volume handled in the month of January is 600,000 TEUs. Just to understand in a better way, out of that 200,000 TEUs is import laden. And in that 2 lakh TEUs, 65% cargo is handled at Chennai. So only import laden, 35% only spread across Tuti, Cochin and Vizag, Mangalore, whatever you call it as. Same way for export, it is 150,000 TEUs is the market size in southern part of India. Out of that, 55% again handled by Chennai-based terminals. And remaining 45% only left to the remaining terminals operating in the other side of southern part of India. And now again, coming back to Tuticorin now. If we talk about the capacity today, there are 3 terminals with a capacity of 1.4 million TEUs. Out of that, now PSA Sikal is now getting into a different concept altogether, but still the capacity remains. So 1.6 million TEUs, out of which last year Tuticorin alone done 800,000 TEUs, which is we touched only 50% of our capacity. So there is a lot of room for further cargo improvement. That is where the opportunity came. And taking advantage of now all the 4 Chennai terminals, as I said, they are again doing more than 60%. And then Tuticorin now given much focus by the Tamil Nadu government, because as I mentioned, why the industries are predominantly focused on only one sector. Now that somehow the government is realized now, looks like. So that is what now a lot of industries started coming towards Tuticorin. Example, it's VinFast, the auto Vietnam-based electric vehicle manufacturing unit, which will be commencing, they are saying by mid of 2025. And then yesterday, our Chief Minister has inaugurated Tata Solar and Vikram Solar, which is again to develop green energy in the region. So that way, it's a good sign for Tuticorin to come up. And then parallelly, what port is also doing from the port side. Today, we are talking about the marine infrastructure still not fully completed, but then within March, this is the commitment given by the port management to make all both the terminals to the draft of 14.2 attract mainline vessels. And I think by 3rd or 4th quarter, I'm 100% confident Tuticorin will have a combination of coastal, one berth, and then feeder berths to Colombo, and then there is going to be another mainline berth. So all the 3 combination together with a target of to fill up the remaining 800,000 TEUs, I think it may not happen overnight. I am 100% confident that the way even from the horse's mouth, they have the kind of confidence all the shipping community from Coimbatore having with Tuticorin, which is historically actually established and cannot be broken that easily. So with that confidence, we are 100% believe Tuticorin will be in limelight maybe in the coming years. And then adding ice on the cake again, that outer harbor. So the port management is very seriously working on that. And if all goes well, if God wishes there for Tuticorin, I think that also will be finalized as per the timeline. What they are saying is before February 28. So if that comes down the line in another 3 to 4 years, so next 3 years, we will try to sustain the traffic. And then the outer harbor, if that also join hands, that will develop into a different concept. And one thing we'll have to understand very clearly that Vizhinjam, yes, it's a very closer to green, but then it's a transshipment template, whereas we are into gateway template. Whereas there 80% of volume, today they have done, say for example, in the January itself they have done 75,000 TEUs, and they are talking about their phase 1 capacity is 1 million TEUs. So that means they already, they can easily cross over this volume. So, and we have done last month 70,000 TEUs together to green with the growth rate of something around 10%. So what I am saying is the trade pattern is slightly different. To green is for textile and garment market. Chennai is for vehicle parts and auto majors, and Cochin is for coastal as well as some sort of towards Middle East region. So I think it's all well established, and the flow will be like that as long as if the port is continue to support the flow. I think everybody will be here to succeed. But then what I am trying to say is, so far the focus is only on the western part of India, central part of India, but then in the future is going to be down south, it is Tuticorin and Vizhinjam. I think with that note, I can.
Thank you so much. I think so many numbers and figures and brought it down. I'm very poor in maths, but can I ask you if I'm right or wrong? So you have going to build capacity of 70,000 TEUs more per month. That's what he's trying to say? Yeah? Okay. For once, I'm okay with maths. So thank you so much, Mr. Senthil. My question is to Captain Mohit Chaturvedi now, JM Baxi Ports and Terminals. Captain, from a terminals operator's perspective, what are the key challenges in ensuring smooth port connectivity and handling increasing export volumes from Coimbatore? As we know, the trade and the representatives are very, confident that the volumes are going to increase because the global trade recognizes them as one of the important hubs to source. So how would you like to mention?
Right. Thanks, Naveen. Very good evening to everyone, and thanks to C-Trade and FIEO for inviting us all over here to do a brainstorming. Naveen, you are absolutely correct. We do see a good surge in volume in coming months, coming times, mainly for two reasons that I foresee is, first of all, the diversification of cargo which is happening in mostly south of India. Earlier, this belt used to be only the fabric and the garments. Now you see it converting into the automobile parts, then automobile itself, like VinFast coming up, then the Tata Solar and Birla Solar coming up with the solar panel. So you see a lot of diversification of cargo, which was very, very important for this sector, because this sector again was a big imbalance when it comes to the equipment parts. So that will also help, main lines bringing the boxes and having that ease of business. Now to answer your question also on a terminal and the limitation part, I think if I need to break up, and I will not take Coimbatore into isolation. I think it is a part of a cluster, be Coimbatore with Tripur Belt, with Tuticorin also coming up with the manufacturing hubs. I think I'll be dividing it into three main parameters. One will be infrastructure, second will be stakeholder and policies, and third will be automation and digitalization. If I talk about infrastructure, which happens to be one of the most important prospect, the two most important thing here is the connectivity from the manufacturing hub to the port. Again, I will not use my selfish lens to bring everything to Tuticorin, although as much as I would like it to be. But to facilitate the trade, I think they should have option to ship their cargo from any port in India, which makes it feasible and cost effective. For that, I think most important thing is the road and the rail infrastructure to be developed. As much as it is developed, and you can see, while we always compare, West Port being prioritized or West being growing, but why have been growing? Because they have a robust road and rail network both. Maximum rail cargo today is going from the Western port. That drives the cargo, right? Entire North India, Central India today is going to the West. Why can't it come to South? The reason is that we have to have a very, very robust road and rail network. Road, I do understand there are good highways, but seeing the growth, what we are expecting, I think there will be a congestion very soon, because we build for today, we don't build for 10 years later. Unfortunately, that's whether you go to any metropolitan city or you go to the highways. So that is number one. Second thing is the infrastructure development on the port and terminal side. Yes, we have Exim coming up. Again, I would say it is at least 2 to 3 years late that we have Exim today. Port of Tuticorin, that is VOC port, we are working with DBGT and Baxi. We are working very hard to improve the infrastructure there by improving the draft, like what Mr. Senthil was also saying, that we are expected to have by first quarter 14.2 in and out, which is very important. And second is by year end, we are expecting to have 15.5 meter draft to attract the main line callers, which still remains the pain point when it comes to this belt, because you entirely dependency on feeders that increase your cost, because that is additional feedering cost. Second is your time. We should also understand that most of the cargo coming out of here is more of a time sensitive cargo. I know everybody likes to talk about cost, but when it comes to the quality of cargo, it's more of a time sensitive cargo than the cost sensitive cargo. So, and we had showcased a pilot project whereby we got a Europe direct vessel calling TICT, that is Terminal Tuticorin Port. Unfortunately, because of the new consolidation, that service is discontinued. Otherwise, we would have had a direct US caller out of Tuticorin. So we have the capacity, we have capabilities, just that we have to develop the infrastructure of the port to an extent whereby the customer have multiple choice from Chennai to Cochin to Vizhinjam to Tuticorin up to Nhava Sheva and Mundra. Because more the choice you have, better the service you can provide. Second, I would say, is the policy making. I think it's very, very imperative to have a uniform policy and stakeholder management at the government level. In the earlier panel also somebody was highlighting today, sometime it is much more cost effective to get a cotton from West Africa to India than from Gujarat to this part of the country, which again is a surprising, but that's remains the fact. And the main reason is because you don't have a very uniform and easy working policy. Third, last but not the least, I would say, which is the need of the hour, is automation and digitalization of the trade. The live tracking, the ease of business, the filing of paper, all these things have to be made very easy, very cost effective and very fast. These things will help to boost the trade which we are expecting to grow and which we see growing here.
Thank you, Captain. So what I could conclude is basically everybody wants the mother vessels to come to the port, including the terminal operators. They want to ensure that the port is capable to handle mother vessels, and they're building the capacity so that the customers want mother vessels. They want to go direct sailing going to Europe and US. And of course, my friend from shipping line, he's very happy to go wherever he can make more money. So I think all of us in the right place. So I hope it will come through soon. We'll have more mother vessels coming to Tuticorin. So now just shifting a little bit more towards the solutions and policy interventions, I would like to take it with Dr. Rajesh Kumar, Customs Broker Association. Doctor, how can customs procedures be streamlined to facilitate faster and more effective customer processing? I know a lot of things being done, but you're in the thick of it. You are the interface between the exporters and the customs. How happy they are with the interventions made? What are the expectations even more from the customs point of view?
Good evening, and first of all, thanks to Cargo Connections, the FIO, for giving Custom Broker and Shipping Association an opportunity to be here. Well, first, Mr. Naveen, Coimbatore is famous for coffee, filter coffee actually. In terms of shipment, yes, a lot of tea goes from out here. And regard to Coimbatore, one of the most developing Tier 2 cities in India, and as such, all eyes are in Coimbatore because we are getting almost around 28 EOUs, SEZs and IT parks, so that gives close to 1 million or more jobs to students here or people here for the next 1.5 to 2 years. So with regard to that coming up, the airport development is also coming up in a very big way, and almost another 500-600 acres have been already acquired, and close to around 5,000 crores fund has come in. So apart from that, you've got a lot of hotels and infrastructure and road chains and a lot of developments are going to come. So Coimbatore is definitely going to be on the limelight. But per se, we need a lot of infrastructure development related to shipping also. So when we talk about that, we have 3 ICDs including Coimbatore and Tirupur. And in fact, we are not complaining about that. They've got a wonderful infrastructure, but it's something like that, we are not able to use it to the maximum. It is just like chicken or egg is the case. Like, how do we make it happen is only a big issue, because we've been discussing with them on a very, very regular note. And somehow we're not able to come to a conclusion, just because, as ma'am said, like Cochin is a very nearby place and they're not able to bring a better tariff out. Because of that, we are not able to somehow make it happen. And now, since Vallarpadam is coming up in a very big, Vizhinjam is coming up in a very big way, and the road infrastructure is almost zero from Cochin to Vizhinjam. So the only way we can help out is rail, and we need to really work out how rail infrastructure can be developed and how best a cost can be worked out. On that basis, I'm sure if something can be done, I'm sure that will be the only way which we could see is the rail. Because the road infrastructure, I don't think it is going to happen another 4-5 years down the line, and its only way is train. So we need to really work on that. I think we should definitely debate on that, discuss on that, and see how we can do something on that. When related to the customs, the issue is like Coimbatore is a small place, and when it is coming to nearby ports, we have 3 ports nearby. Maybe Chennai is almost 500 kilometers, balance all are quite nearby, so everybody moves it by the trailers out. But a lot of LCL consolidation is happening in Coimbatore. And the issue with LCL consolidation is like, that is also at a high risk that most of the cargo, we are worried that this will go back to the major ports, because the container, the consolidation has been stuffed in a bonder truck from here, and an EGM is filed in Coimbatore. And when it goes to the major ports, it would be Chennai or Cochin or Tuticorin, they are restuffed into the container. And there is a mismatch in the EGM. So none of the exporters are able to get any of these benefits, which has been lying for ages. And that's become a very, very big issue, which, all the exporters are fearing that, how can we use Coimbatore? And we are really worried that is the only movement which is happening in terms of Exim logistics, maybe around 7,500 containers, and we are worried that also will go off. So we are really pushing Concur as well as customs to find out what is the via media, how can we solve this out, and we have given a lot of ideas also to get through this glitch. Otherwise, we are worried that this full cargo of consolidation will go out of Coimbatore. Next is that in terms of airport is also a big issue, because we have only 2 flights from here, international flights, and we have enough of cargoes for exports. So we ourselves are moving all the cargoes out from here to Cochin, Chennai, Trivandrum, keeping a lovely airport here. So we are looking for a lot of new chartered flights, cargo flights coming into Coimbatore, wherein we can push in more cargo out of Coimbatore, so our friends, our colleagues can get a lot of businesses over the period. So for that, we are working out with customs. And again, one big issue is like we had an headquarters of customs in Coimbatore maybe 5 years back. And after the GST, the Coimbatore commissariat, the custom commissariat is not there anymore, and it has been taken to Trichy. So there is no officers down here, higher level officers. There is an assistant commissioner level here. We have been asking for a joint commissioner level officer who can take decisions and do something for us, which will be very, very useful, and we have been pushing for that on a big way. The third point is that we think that the custodians are paying a huge, hefty sum for customs as a cost recovery basis. Because of that is one reason that the local shippers or the exporters are not able to use them, because they have become uncompetitive, because they have to pay such a huge amount plus their infrastructure. When it comes, it's not becoming a viable study, so people are moving out of it. So we have we are also pleading from our side to subsidize this cost recovery, or at least to a level when it grows, they should substantiate and do something on that, so that this ICDs and the investment of maybe 60 acres of land, it's a huge land down in Conca, which can be really developed, and a bigger shipments can be moved out of here. In terms of systems, what we feel is that we have a lot of issues all over India because of the developments, and every 3 months upgradation is happening, and we are into real trouble most of the times, and I think very soon we should get rid of these issues. And in fact, we've been discussing with CBIC, and they are also saying that they're trying a level best to get things happen, but it will take some more time to get the things fixed. So that's what we feel it. And in terms of cost recovery, as I said, that is an issue. And one more thing is, like, where we can cut cost is that presently only for manufacturers we have this RFID seals, but not for merchant exporters. We are trying to push that one point also, but most of, at least 80% of the exporters are merchant exporters, and if that facility can be given to them also, because this RFID seal, for making this we have to go to a CFS or an ICD in the ports, wherein the cost is so high, wherein we are becoming uncompetitive. Or we have to move through 3 trucks for a 40-feet container, de-stuff in a CFS, load it, and this is a big cost in fact, which we are also trying out in a better manner. And that's all from my side.
Thank you, Mr. Rajesh. A lot of valid points, which a lot of interventions needed from the customs and the government side. I mean, we don't have anybody here, but I'm sure the points are well taken care, and I think it will be carried forward. And most importantly, any shippers present here, they would be glad to know that you are working on it with the customs. So it gives a kind of assurance. More importantly, these are kind of issues which are not directly under our hand, but as infrastructure providers who are willing to invest, the shippers who are willing to export, but I think these are something that we need to really get rid of as soon as possible to increase our exports from Coimbatore. So coming down to someone who's been connected with the Coimbatore industry as from the gateway of Tuticorin, Mr. David Raja, St. John Freight Systems. So Mr. David, as the freight forwarder, what roles we spoke about, we also saw the presentation from Waste Logistics about digitization and technology. So I would like you to speak a little bit, expound more on that. You know, how would that play a role in reducing the logistic cost and improving the export efficiency, especially for the Coimbatore industry, so on the tech point of view?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Naveen. Thank you, India's Sea Trade. Let me voice high saying that we handle most of the Coimbatore cargo at our ICD facility. Mostly iron castings, valves, brakes, and then all the machinery parts. It's mostly going to USA and then Europe. So with that kind of an experience of handling the Coimbatore cargo for a decade, I think I have to start with a case study, and then I would also like to highlight what needs to be done, and then we can have the Q&A session. The first and foremost, as handling the Coimbatore volume, I have few statistics with me to highlight to this forum how big this Coimbatore is now. The Coimbatore GST collection is almost 4,200 crore for 23-24, which is 18% of the last year. It's an increase. And another important thing I would like to, I have the statistics. There are about 1.5 lakh MSMEs are here in Coimbatore who are undertaking the various manufacturing units. And then to name the LMW, lot of things. With regard to textiles, I would also like to highlight you in Tamil Nadu, 40% of the textiles is covered only by Coimbatore and Tirupur. With, I would like to tell you very clearly that 5,000 crores of foreign exchange is earned by these two, Coimbatore and Tirupur. The automotive, this is, Coimbatore is upcoming. Let me also proudly tell to this audience saying that in our ICD, the EV forklift is made in Coimbatore. It's been running smoothly. We have been adding lot of machines, all made in Coimbatore. Our dock levelers are made in Coimbatore. EV forklifts are made in Coimbatore. Let me, maybe I can also declare here, because I have issued the PO and I did it, because previously we used CNG Toyota, because as per we are all handling most of the brands, so we cannot use diesel forklifts inside our warehouses. The difference between Toyota and Coimbatore EV forklift, I can tell the whole forklift is approximately 8 lakhs difference. So let us tell very clearly that Coimbatore is coming up. Coimbatore is likely to become the EV Valley of India. And let us all promote this Coimbatore, and what Mr. Senthil and Captain Mohit has already complimented about the Tuticorin. As we are all from Tuticorin, I have a greater strength to support me. Let me also tell you very clearly that you please come to Tuticorin. We will undertake the business. We will take care of you. We will do what the best we can do. Because having handled all your cargo, it's not a small thing to handle, because these are all unsized cargo. It's not a standard sizes. You cannot just like that handle what you handle other cargo. You need special handling. You need lot of things to handle. It is almost like a newborn baby you have to handle. Otherwise, these are all tailor-made cargo. You can't reproduce it. You can't change it at the destination. The cargo has to come back, refurnished and send it back. So, we assure you that we, the community of Tuticorin, so far we did the best and we will continue to do the best. In order to substantiate what Mr. Naveen has clearly pointed out, the logistics, digitalization and cost. Let me give a live case study what we have handled. We have a customer called Propel Industries at Coimbatore. They are the manufacturers, they are the suppliers of the earth equipments to South Africa. They were using neighboring ports. They used only ODC consignments. And Seva Logistics was the consolidator. We were the first mile connectivity or first mile vendor to Seva Logistics. So we have been requested to take care of the cargo because they were about to lose the cargo. because the competitors are China, South Africa, China, South Korea, and Japan. So the cost is high. So we came. Every logistics company is today adopting the technology, otherwise you cannot survive. But likewise, we also have the technology, but it's an inbuilt technology. We use it. We came with the technology, we used it. We came here, Coimbatore, we used. Then we found that this is possible to load inside the 40 high cube with whatever we call it as the container storage solutions. We name it. We taken the cargo to our place, we stuffed it in 40 high cube, we exported to Tuticorin port, this was delivered, we saved from ODC to 40 high cube $600. I would like to tell you clearly that they won the contract of South Africa, and then we are already, within a span of 6 months, we handled 640 high cubes. So that is a scope, whatever we call it as a logistics provider, a digital solution. With that digital solution, we can also enhance the cost saving drive, which will ultimately land up in a Make in India to reach the world. So this is the message which I would like to tell you under this subject. The digitalization definitely help the logistics industry to move forward, to give a tailor-made solution to the manufacturers especially. This will also help the manufacturers to penetrate into the new market and then create a job opportunity for the next generation. So let the logistics will play a bridge between the manufacturers and to the suppliers and make it happen. So under this experience, I would like to highlight you saying there are one major point which I would like to suggest, because I have seen some of the IT companies, top 5, 6 IT companies which is coming up in Coimbatore, because Coimbatore is also coming up as a IT hub next to Chennai. So that is, please support this manufacturer, because these are all MSME and SME, a predictive analysis. Give them a solution, because most of the cargo which is coming in or staying back for a long time, they are arresting their capital over there, because most of the ports are strike. Some of the ports are under monsoon affected area. Some of the inland destinations are cut off. So these are all needs to be give a predictive, because today AI is penetrating like anything. No, so many things we can talk. This AI driven predictive solutions will help the manufacturers like Coimbatore to aware, because this Coimbatore is located inland. They don't know about the shore. They are in the inland location. So it is the solution providers, you please inform these manufacturers to give a correct picture so that they will also supply, and accordingly they will send the cargo to the seaside place. And the second major point which I would like to highlight to you, because I have been designated as the expert in United Nations Economic Commission of Europe. Whenever I present to the international community, I always stress upon one point is the supply chain solution. So this is very important, which in the inaugural session also they have, the transparency of the documents, the complete supply of the documents right from the exporter to the importer, including the customs, including the forwarder, including the what we call the liners. The flow should be very clear. Of course, during my presentation in the Europe, they say the Bitcoin has become the flow of currency, but in India we have yet to come. But still, I just want to tell you, this is the way we can move towards the next generation. The government is talking about coming down from 14% to the single digit and all these things. Unless and until some concrete steps which we take, especially the transparency of the documentation flow, because cargo flow is always, it has so much transparency today, because liners are giving feedback, forwarders are giving feedback, ports are now connected to the exporters. You get all the feedback about the cargo flow, but with regard to the documentation flow, the transparency, what liners are charging, what the forwarders are charging, what the ports are charging, how the destination charges is there. So this is very important as far as the complete supply is concerned. So let us work on that, especially to this Coimbatore is coming up like anything. Coimbatore has become a highly talented, technological driven pool is there, is coming up. I have just gone through some of the records wherein 5-6 companies are erupting or coming up like anything. So under these circumstances, I just want to highlight you with this time frame. These two things I request all the solution providers to support this manufacturer, and then joining hands with the logistics provider to make this Coimbatore region as one of the biggest manufacturing hub or the supplier for the world. Thank you very much.
Some more, please. Because I was going to ask you to clap for Mr. David Raja for his passionate rendition, speech, what he wanted to say. Thank you so much. And when my friend Prem gave the presentation of Viz Logistics, he was asking for Q&A. Anybody has any questions? I had a question, but I thought, okay, I don't want to be the odd one out. But my question to him was, can AI be adapted in a very traditional organization? I'm very happy that St. John Freight, such a great old organization, is talking so passionately about the technology and AI. I think it's possible to adapt technology in a traditional company. Coming to an exporter, a very prominent exporter, not only from India but around the world. This organization grows much faster than the ports could handle the volumes. So coming to Mr. Pratap Singh Chauhan of Jindal Steel. So from exporter's perspective, what else you think the ports or the infrastructure in logistic company infrastructure and the government should do, including the private sector, which should help the exports even to go in higher numbers? So.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, all of you. If we're talking about year-over-year, the volume are going to be increasing. We are seeing the trend in, as on today, I'm working for that mineral and orage. If we're talking about last 5 years, the volume is going to be up at least 3 times. Now in coming 2 years, if we're talking about at a pan-India level, that volume is going to be up 4 times up. So demand is more, and the expectation, if we are talking about, everyone is looking for the, number one is a cost reduction, number 2 is a better lead time, that in terms of OTIF, on time in full, means where we can, that customer demand we can approach, or maybe if we're talking about in terms of our production, how can I fulfill my demand and supply chain. Now, if we're talking about the challenges, means as Mohit said and another colleagues also mentioned that a lot of pain areas, if we're talking about poor infrastructure, that adoption of technology, whatever, we are far away from the digitalization, that skewness if we're talking about, or maybe the in terms of commercial, that if we're talking about there is a no uniformity, or if we're talking about globalization with that Indian standards, there is a no benchmark, there is no simulation method we are applying in our Indian industry. And that if we're talking about that policies if we're talking about in X region and Y region, so there are different policies where that exporter are having various problems. If we're talking about that, as my colleague co-panelist has mentioned, there are n number of, we were talking about that nobody, means everybody want to adopt the technology, but they are not interested to share a data, maybe the carrier, maybe the customs. So we should come into one platform where we can exchange the data that can help to the nation, or maybe means we are able to come with a better that visibility and the better productivity in terms of. So now coming to the first point, the poor infrastructure. If we're talking about port side, there are a lot of congestion is going on. So we are looking for that artificial intelligence or the that digitalization technology, where if we're talking about means the sensage of vessels, it should be visible, so that if, whatever the damage is occurring to the maybe shipper or maybe to the final user, so that we can reduce. If as on today we are talking about our banking systems, or maybe in terms of our plant, or maybe some of the shippers are using that technology also. There means if some loading bay is vacant, and so they can use the vehicle on particular loading bay. So means we need to that in India, if we're talking about from last 5 years or 10 years, the number of ICD, number of ports are going to be increasing. But if we are looking for the volume, as compared to volume is also increasing. Some of the time means I can accept the challenges, means there is a simulation, there is no uniformity, that demand from the shipper side also. We should also look into that perspective. This is a one pain point. And if we are talking about that railway systems, there are some bottlenecks. If we are talking about from 400 kilometer or maybe 500 kilometer, that is going to be complete within 4 or 5 days. If we are talking about 150 kilometer, that is taking 1 or 2 days. So what is a benefit in that? So there are some bottlenecks. If we are talking about from origin side or maybe destination side, means the points are going to be that racks are going to be wait for that powers and the changing of crew members. So that there is a challenge in India, means I think we are having a shortage of crew members as well, and the powers also. So we should work on that area also. Now we were talking about in terms of that liner commercials. As my friend said, year and year we are talking up with the government that if we're talking about inbound and outbound, there is no uniformity. Means if we're talking about that small carriers or bigger carriers, maybe bigger carriers, that A1 grade carriers, I can say ABC, we can divide into that area. So that charges are approximately fixed. If we're talking about that C grade carriers, that charges are not fixed. So at least there should be norms from the government side. There should be some benchmark, or there should be some that pop up. That cost shouldn't increase from that way. In terms of inbound also, so a lot of carriers are making this is a bread and butter, but this is a loss to us also. Means that cargo, the cost is going to increase to our nation only. If we're talking about the local charges, if we're talking about 25,000, maybe 20,000, but means that charge is increasing up to maybe, means they are adding other charges, maybe 20 or 25,000. If we're talking about means in terms of inland haulage also, if we are making a comparison means X paisa, so this X plus means point we can increase some percentage, but here what we are going to do means X plus 2 or maybe that in some of the times that cost is going to be double also. So we should stop all these things. Now the policy as I mentioned in terms of that refunds or in terms of that clearance, that tax should be defined, means that if we are talking about from last 5 years or means as on today, if we are talking about, yes, of course, growth is there, e-Sanchit is there, lot of things are going to be happen, but if we are, means our expectation is also very, very high. So if, as on today, means if we are going to, means just making our that cost comparison through our global standards, so we cannot make a comparison. So we are far, far away, so we need to work on that. And technology, yes, of course, technology is available, the tracking is available, but if we are talking about in terms of means some of the things are going to be happen, again that is stopped and then again that going to be started. So we are looking for that, that path should be in upper side, not downfall side. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Pratap. So I just want to casually open to Ms. Gayatri or Senthil or Captain. Anything that you want to share with Mr. Pratap, that what is sharing his concern about the facility providers, especially the railways and the ports. So would you like to comment something, Senthil?
See, government is keep talking about reducing the logistics cost, right? Now on the port side and the terminal perspective, now if you look at the development happening today, see for example, again I am taking South India as an example. Now still there is a capacity crunch, so there are a lot of terminals needs to be developed. That is number one, because everyone is focusing on Chennai, so parallel facilities to be developed. And then market industries also to parallelly to develop. See for example, the ports like Antwerp, the captive cargo coming from 50% of the captive cargo is located within 50 kilometers from the port. So that kind of concept to be adopted, and we'll have to move on, at least in the future. And then when you talk about the tariff rates again, we are the cheapest. Now there is going to be a change in tariff regime. Market-driven tariff is going to come pan-India. So we don't know what is going to happen. So then one side, we are keep privatizing the terminal, and then everyone is trying to bid for it, taking it in a higher price, and then they are now getting into market-driven. So where is the question of now how you are going to reduce your logistic cost? So we are also, it may not be contributing in a bigger way as a THC, but what I am saying is, see, this has to be thought on the other way around also. Everyone is trying to bid on by quoting higher price, right? And then coastal again, we are spending more on coastal. See, today MSC may be a larger player, so they can engage their own ships. As Mr. KK said, no, there are 18 vessels they are already putting into this coastal this thing. But today there is no Indian flag vessels to cater into these kind of large movements. When you say that Tuticorin, Vizhinjam is there already, down the line in 2 years' time it's going to become 2 million, 3 million TEUs capacity. Now Tuticorin is also, they are talking about outer harbor, so transshipment and then gateway. So there is not much of scope for Indian flag vessels. So that also need to be focused on. And then another thing is, Indian flag vessels, again, they are also getting into PPP model of developing a port, which is also not happening. For example, Shipping Corporation of India, Unifeeder, they should operate an independent terminal catering only to coastal. Because what's happening is, again, I'll have to bluntly tell this, because any terminal, they will try to discourage coastal, because your revenue is less, 40%. So any private operator, I am saying, be it a government or a private operator, even though it's all in the papers saying that yes, coastal to be given priority, but then because of this cost. So what I am saying is all these things has to be looked into. And then the balancing of trade. Now Chennai, surplus imports, whereas Tuticorin, surplus exports. But then naturally you have to spend on the empty repositioning. So now today that empty position is happening only at Tuticorin. So it has to be built in across the hinterlands. There should be some empty depots For example, Chennai, who are importing Coimbatore region, imports, that box should come support for exports, so that is the way of reducing the cost, right? And then you are talking about the toll gates. Even though toll gates, I don't know how many, I think 4 or 5 toll gates are there between Coimbatore and Tuticorin. So that cost, it may not, again, what I am saying is we have to start thinking from the scratch. So I think these are the things we'll have to look into.
Anybody would like to take a point about the, please go ahead.
I think I missed Coimbatore CHA Association, one of the biggest clarification on the EGM part, where you have clearly mentioned that the EGM exporters are affected. There is a change of system right now in the customs. When you send the cargo out of ICD Coimbatore, your exporters will automatically, the moment the truck summary entered by the ICD operator, the drawback will be credited onto the exporters. But when it reaches to the gateway, another CFS and then consolidated into the container, you are mentioning in the truck summary, instead of the container, you are only, again you are writing only the truck number. You are not, because you don't know which container it's going. But there is a robust system with the customs is right now already implemented. As far as Tuticorin is concerned, I can guarantee you, I can very well guarantee you, saying that that container amendment is available in customs system as far as Tuticorin is concerned, and we are doing it. The moment EGM, the moment the container cargo is loaded onto the ship with your cargo also, Coimbatore cargo also, and the gateway EGM is already generated by the feeder operator, the ICES that will automatically synchronize the gateway EGM with the truck summary, and then it will be tallied. As far as Tuticorin is concerned, because we are very closely following up with customs also, with regard to, because I am boldly talking about these statistics, because some of the bonded trucks which we also handle as ICD operator at Tuticorin, I have a statistics, but there is no pendency. So whatever we call it as the L error or M error or whatever the error, it's not happening right now. So maybe again I would like to compliment our Tuticorin customs and Tuticorin. We don't have the pendency. As a Tuticorin, we maintain nil pendency. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. David. Yeah, we open for question and answer, so you can.
This is not being referred to a shipment that is going from ICD of to the port. This is from cargo which is originating from Coimbatore ICD to the gateway port, where the local engine, let me finish, local engine that got number is entered. At the gateway port, the container number is entered. And when there is a reconciliation, there is a C error.
Yeah.
And that is, I think this is going to be finalized or maybe validated through customs from the final loading of the vessel, not from the ICD.
So, but right now,
see, just I am sharing an example. Suppose maybe the cargo is moving from X port to Y port, and from Y port to directly to final destination. So that custom is going to be validated the Y port. So that change are not going to be happen. So that's why delay. Otherwise, if we are talking about from ICD, if that means that vessel is correct, so EGM is going to be updated within a 3 to 4 working days or maybe within week time. But if that is not going to be happen, so maybe customs or maybe CHA or maybe the shipping line, all are fighting, and that is going to be continued other than 15 days or a month also.
I totally agree with regard to the C error. this is possible, and a customs commissioner Tuticorin has earmarked a designated officer to close the error. Please liaise your CHA to, maybe we all can support you. The C error, with no time, this can be eliminated.
A permanent solution in the system itself. Because if there is an error that's happening here, then we should engage someone to correct that error. That is a time tedious process. We don't want that. We want a seamless situation where there will be no errors.
Sir, this is
and moreover, another thing is, at gateway ports, there is a 1,000 rupee amendment charge also for this.
Sir, this is possible. I totally agree, because technically, because you are generating your truck summary. The ICD is generating the truck summary. When you generate the truck summary, you don't find a container number in your truck summary. And you are uploading into the ICS system. Okay? And the customer, as far as manufacturer or exporter concerned, he will get the drawback.
But he won't get the ROTAP and the
please.
IGST refund.
Yes. So the second part is a IGST refund. So it's been consolidated at the gateway port with another container and then exported. That your truck summary may not aware of which container it has been co-loaded. So that's an issue.
That's the issue.
You have to undergo the amendment process. There is no other way.
No, that's what we have been representing to amend the system. There should be a solution.
Sir, the solution...
Amendment is not a solution.
But there is in your truck summary, you can't do the amendment. So that's a problem.
In ICS, the DGS system has to find a solution for that in ICS.
So that is, the truck summary has no provision for once you upload it, a custodian cannot amend the truck summary. So that's an issue. So it should be amended only by the customs officer at the gateway port, because IGST is involved. IGST will be released only after sailing of the vessel, after the EGM file.
But sir, there has to be some remedy, because for example, there is one big shipper in Coimbatore. He ships close to around 3,000 containers a year. Almost 600 containers had this EGM error, and 1,000 rupees per EGM, plus a person doing all this. So 1,500 rupees, for example, into 600 is huge money, where we can't go and collect from the shipper.
Sir, I have to raise my hands. So this is not a debatable subject.
Yes, I'm just saying, we need to
what
way
we
out.
We can represent, the CHA association can represent to the DG systems that, as far as concern me, because I have about 28 years of this experience, you can't do anything in the truck summary amendment. It is impossible, because it's a technical error. It's also sensitive things. If you allow to a custodian to amend the truck summary, it leads to other problems. So it has to be done only by the gateway port. Okay? But this can be done without any charges as far as the inland ICD is concerned. That can be represented and get it clarified.
For us, that also would not be a solution. See, doing a mistake and then correcting it, doing a mistake and correcting it, you can do it forever and ever. We want something to happen without a mistake. And for that matter, we have represented.
So,
we have
technically,
we have represented, and we are in discussion with the DG systems.
Fine, sir. Okay.
Thank you so much. And any more questions? Keeping up the tempo? Yeah, a lot of hands are raised. So you can use that mic there.
Okay. Good evening all. Good evening the panelists. Good evening everybody attended here. I am Soumya from St. John's Freight System. Thank you for India Street Trade for the opportunity to meet all these peoples, and I'm very much excited to meet all of them. So my question is for Mr. Senthil DGBT and then Mr. Captain DGBT. So for the previous panelists, someone have mentioned that from January, there is a direct vessel sailing and shipment from Tuticorin to Europe shipments. As you have already mentioned, you are handling a larger amount of Euro shipments. Now from February onwards, there is a change in that all the shipments have to go through Colombo. And now they have started that Billingham going to start a direct shipment for Europe countries. So what is the Tuticorin port terminal have a strategy to compete with for a gateway cargoes from Billingham and Colombo?
Hi. First of all, I don't consider Vizhinjam as a competition. They are more of a complement, and so I avoid using word competition, whether it is Port DP World Cochin or Vizhinjam or Tuticorin our terminal. I think we are both, or we are all complementing each other rather than competing, because that is the reason that cargo was going to Colombo. The 75% of Colombo cargo is actually coming from east of India, right? So I would not use the word competition there. But like I also emphasized that we did showcase that we can have a direct sailing from Tuticorin to Europe. We did get a vessel in September, 16th of September, we did get a direct Europe caller to Tuticorin. Unfortunately, due to some changes in the port rotation and upsizing of the vessel, as of today, Tuticorin cannot handle that new vessels. But we are working, DBGT, JM Baxi and VOC port, we are working to have that infrastructure improvement by end of this year. So if you ask me in phased manner, so we are expecting by first quarter of this year, we should have a 14.2 meter draft. Just for your insight, typically a Europe or US vessel as of today would require about 15 meters draft and about 360 meters of LOA. That is the size of vessel which will be plying in these trade lanes. So now going phase by phase, so 14.2 is what we are expecting by first quarter. 15.5 is what we are expecting by year end. And same time, we are also sponsoring a study with IIT Chennai to handle 370 meters of LOA of vessel within the proximity of VOC port. Once these studies are done, once these infrastructure upliftment is done, I think we are all set to have a direct sailing to US, Europe and any part of the globe.
Okay, so by the time we will be transporting only through Colombo and then to Europe.
Until then, yes, we might have some small vessel which can come in between for a direct caller, but yes, to have a sustainable scheduled service, I think we will need a little bit of a time.
Okay, thank you for.
Yeah. Just to add what he said. See, now Colombo connectivity is there. Okay, there are 6 sailings. And as he rightly asked, when Billingham comes, they start a Europe service. Again, arithmetically, if you can work out. As I said, Billingham is 80% transshipment, 20% gateway. And today their road network is not open. So we are relaxed for another 6 or 8 months, number one. And the rail connectivity is again going to happen another 3 or 4 years. So another relaxation. So despite all this, what I am saying is, even if a mainline vessel comes, assuming that one service in a week, say 4,000 TEUs capacity, how much cargo slot they can earmark for gateway? It may be 300, 400 TEUs in a vessel in a week. Assuming that what we are offering today out of Tuticorin, using the feedering network, every day 1,000 TEUs. Okay, so that's the difference, because you cannot neglect Colombo immediately. Yeah. It has been established transshipment hub. All 90% of mainliners are using Colombo as a transshipment hub. And today, Billingham is taken care only by MSC. So that's the difference. And then when the alliance coming up are going to change, 2M withdrawn, it is joining hands with Hapag-Lloyd. Musk is continuously, they are trying to promote Colombo. What I am saying is Colombo, and then as well as they will make a direct call exploring out of Tuticorin also. Of course, MSC also will try to make an ad hoc call. So this is the concept. And Colombo feeder is still a preferred pet for Tirupur market, because it is specially designed, daily sailing. There is no, as I said, there is no need for anybody to wait for 3 days or 4 days to get the container, get on board a mainline vessel. Rather, since we are giving that direct loading option, Even 2 hours before sailing our vessel, we will continue to load boxes. So that product is still sellable in this market. So that is not going to be vanished in a short-term basis. So every concept will work continuously. Depends on now there are more option is going to come. So that's the way. And then Port Tuticorin also now we are ready. As I said, channel widening is also going to happen. Dredging is already awarded. Before March it will be done. And then outer harbor also will come up. Let's see the competition.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you for answering.
Captain Chaturvedi, hello, yeah. Hello, yeah. You said, you are in talks with the Port Authority to increase the depth. Is it going to be on a cost-sharing basis between the PPP operator and the Port Authority, or you want it to be done by the Port Authority on its own?
If you ask what I want, I would rather have it everything on the Port Authority and nothing on my kitty, to be very honest. But that is some arrangement which is still going on a government level till 14.2 meters. That's why we are sharing some cost. So for 14.2 meters, I think the port has to get it done. That is the agreement that port has or confirmation that port has given us. For the study regarding the LOA, that is a simulation what we are doing with IT Chennai, that is Baxi, which is sponsoring as of today. Regarding 15.5 meters, I think the discussion is still on how the cost and everything has to be decided.
Because as per the latest MCA, depth beyond a certain point has to be on a cost-sharing basis, right? So that's the reason why I asked that question.
No, that's what I'm saying. So when the concession was awarded to Baxi, this was one of the discussion which was happening, and that is still to be decided that how the cost has to be divided. For that, I think Chairman probably will be here to give you the firm answer. But my understanding is once they plan out the tendering and have a better understanding on the cost part, probably then the discussion will move further.
Okay. One more, Gayatri, I just want to check. I mean, are you planning? You said you're planning this LNG movements for longer distances. Could you please elaborate on that?
Right now, like a LNG trailer can run up to 1,000 kilometers without fueling. So wherever there is now we are, right now we do not have that many LNG fueling points. But gradually we are seeing a lot of them are developing. So once that comes, we are planning towards JNPT also via Nagpur, we can take up to 1,000 kilometers. We have to fuel it after every 1,000 kilometers. So we can do that, we just planning, we've not started off for 1,000 kilometers, but we are doing it to Mysore from Chennai. So to and fro it is coming to more than 700 kilometers. So we are already doing that. So because both ends we have fueling points. So that is what we require. So from here also from Coimbatore to JNPT, Coimbatore, I think Avinashi already they've started, and there is another plant which is coming just outside our terminal. Petronet is also supposed to start an LNG fueling point. So once that starts, JNPT already on the other end we have a fueling point, and we are just searching if there's any other fueling point in between in case there is a necessity. I think that would be a smooth movement. We are working on the parameters on that, but that will be possible. That's what we are planning in the long run.
Yeah. See, we are talking about the port congestion, and we are talking about the congestion. In my best of the knowledge, anywhere in the world, the import container not stored in the yard. All the import container being delivered from the vessel hook point. As a terminal operator, you might be aware of it. I personally see this in Singapore and Dubai. The import container will be delivered from the vessel hook point. It is not stored. The same system 15 years back I given to the Chennai port to one Mr. Ennarasu Karneshwaran, but you have some difficulties to implement. If you are trying to implement this, number one, lifting the one container, you are using the genset and fuel. It will costing you minimum 750 rupees. Dropping one container costing you 750, lifting the container into the vessel, it is costing you 750. Any container you are shifting in between for lifting the bottom container, it will cost you another 600 rupees. It is costing you 2,100 rupees, and the diesel is creating a lot of pollution to the environment. If you are interested, the proposal which I given to the Chennai port, I'll give it to any one of the terminal, you can do it. If you are doing this, number one is the yard is free. You can store more export container in the yard. Your capacity will be increased almost double. If you are already given, if you are interested, I'll give you. If you want, you can check it from your side. Anywhere in the world, Dubai, Singapore, Malaysia, the major port, even Shanghai, they are not at all storing the import container inside the port unless otherwise it is over-dimensional cargo or unclaimed container by the CFS operator or the importer. Only that containers are stored. I given the proposal, I given the operational system. If you are interested, I'll give it to you at free of cost. I don't want any commissions, I don't want any incentive out of it. I am from Trivay, you must be aware of it. If you call me or if you tell my guys, I will present to you. Ma'am, as a Concord operator, nice to see you here. We try to use your services from Chennai, from Concord, Chennai to Whitefield, Bangalore. But my road transport cost is equal to the cost from terminal to terminal. When you are fixing the cost, you also consider allowed to move the container in Chennai from CFS to Concord Yard. From Concord Yard, you will come into the Whitefield Concord. From Whitefield Concord, I will to move the container to the factory. If you take into the consideration of this cost, if you give this better rate, we can also use the container. You can use your train operation. See, for me, I'm also having a trucks. For me, every 40,000 kilometers, I will have to change the tire. And you are carrying now 55, you are pulling 55 40 feet container with one engine. If at all I want to move, I want to have 55 trailers. But I'm also having the rail mounted gantry crane in my CFS. 18 years, I'm not changing the wheel, I'm not changing the rail. So considering your operation cost, give us a better rate to work with you. We are happy to work with you if at all the rates are workable and it is equivalent to the road transportation, connecting the pickup point, deliver in a Concord and the pickup point from the Whitefield to the factory. If the rate is matches, we also use your services. Please consider this. And whenever you are operating to the port, if at all you want operating to the port, the mother vessel when it reaches to the port, your train should reach 1 day in advance. If you plan in such a way, every people will use a Concord, rail services. Rail services is much faster than the road services. Those days I used to get a cargo from Delhi to Chennai by passenger rail, GT and Tamil Nadu. It will come within 30 hours to Chennai. If it comes from my door, it will take minimum 5 days. I have seen some beautiful operations. You can try it out. Only we have a problem only on the rate and the schedule of your sailing time. If you consider it, we can also use it. Slowly it will get improved. And then we are talking about system management, all this we are talking. So any exporters are here? Any exporters are here? Okay. Whatever the goods you are exporting it, you are using the single format of the documents. Invoice and packing list, country of origin and FCR and bill of lading, all in the single format. When you are importing the cargo, are you getting the similar type of invoice? Even AI comes to India tomorrow, I cannot upload the invoices what they are doing in abroad in our system. I will type it, spelling mistake, reject, coming back, again correct and send it. Everything is happening only because we don't have a fixed format for the import documents. Even if whenever I am booking the cargo on the freight forwarding, when I spoke to the Chinese supplier, I clearly told them that give me the invoice in the US format, Euro format. He is not giving it. Then government should come forward to give the format to use, otherwise the documents will be rejected. See, every country using one format, only India using lakhs of the format. So if it is a single format, I can scan and upload it. No need to type, there is no mistake, there is no document error. Coming back and again amending, you know very well, one amendment it will take minimum 3 days. Even the amendment will go to the commissioner, assistant commissioner to get approved. And the assistant commissioner most of the time in the meeting with the top official. See, past 3-4 days we have been suffering only because of our notifications. That is the knitted fabrics. Yeah. So your people should take it forward. Whole India have a single document. If you have a document, the future generation of your son, your grandson can do much good business. Otherwise they will suffer like us.
Thank you, Ravi sir. Thank you, Ravi sir, for your wonderful suggestions as always. So, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Due to paucity of time, we may have to close the session, and also we have an important session lined up next. So, and more importantly, the moderator of the previous discussion got compliments from the MC.
Oh, thank you.
For concluding on time. So I don't want to lose that. So thank you so much for participating, all the panelists, and the opportunity that we had here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for moderating this session. I request you to please stay back as we have a token of our love and gratitude to all of you. And to do the honors, I'd like to invite on stage Mr. Ravi Menon, President, MPRS Shipping and Logistics. May I request you to kindly come on stage to present a token of our appreciation and gratitude to our panelists on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, can we hear a loud round of applause for Mr. Ravi Menon, who is walking up on stage? May I invite Mr. Pratap Singh Chauhan to kindly step forward and receive the memento. Thank you so much, Mr. Chauhan, for joining us today and sharing your insights. All right, I'd like to request Captain Mohit Chaturvedi to kindly come forward. Thank you so much, Captain, for joining us today. Dr. R. Rajesh Kumar, may I request you to kindly step forward. Thank you so much. May I request Ms. G. Gayatri, IRTS GGM, to kindly step forward. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us today. Mr. Senthilkumar Subramaniam, may I request you to kindly step forward and accept the memento on our behalf. Thank you. Mr. David Raja, may I request you to please receive the memento as a token of our appreciation. And of course, the moderator of our session, Mr. Naveen Prakash. Thank you so much for doing the tough task of moderating the session on time. Thank you so much for joining us today, accepting our invitation and joining us today. Thank you, Mr. Naveen Prakash. Thank you. May I request all the panelists to join Mr. Ravi Menon on stage for a quick photograph. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for our second session and the panelists of our second session, robust and resilient infrastructure for Coimbatore's exporters. Thank you so much, dignitaries, for joining us.